Hey everybody, I'm back, and this is going to be another quick live stream. I'll pick this up tomorrow more, but I think it bears repeating later. But I'm going to reintroduce it now. I talked about it, or I alluded to it the night before, but this is to really focus on it. It takes us all the way back to June 15th of last year, 2019. And in a post on Oakland News Now that's been shared 1,000 times, and it is entitled, "Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium Roof Truss Problem Causes New Delay." Remember that? That was June 5th. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This one. And that photo's courtesy of Jedi Rich and Jedi Joy. Hey, JP from the P. June 15th, 2019, okay? And it was last updated a few days ago, as you can see. Now, see, why do I go all the way back there to talk about the cable net roof problem of today? Here's why. I'm going to read for you what I wrote. Then, Las Vegas. The Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium has a new problem on top of sponsorship issues and stadium hotel tax revenue problems. An issue that caused the removal of one of the roof truss segments, 26 in all, and 130,000 pounds each, that are being installed ahead of a self-imposed July 31st deadline, had to be removed on June 12th, and to this day, June 15th, it has still not been replaced. This is a major development setback for the new NFL stadium and is related to another Las Vegas stadium construction process that is also now pushed back. The installation of 850-foot long cables that are to fix the 26 roof trusses in place and support the translucent ethylene terephthalene roof. That's ETFE. Now that 850-foot long cables, that's the compression ring. On top of that, I'm still reading what I wrote here. On top of that, Las Vegas Monsoon 2019 is said to be coming today, Saturday. If it does, that expected flash flood will add up to yet another rain delay this year to push back the Las Vegas Stadium construction schedule, meaning a stoppage in the process to fix the roof truss problem, which is a delay in itself. This news comes courtesy of a video posted today by Las Vegas YouTube vlogger Richard Jedi Rich Lightlauer with Jedi Joy Lightlauer as the reporter in the video blog. Note to be clear, Jedi Rich broke the story of the delay, not Zenny 62 Media. This space is simply reporting what they have found, at the same time releasing the news to a wider audience, because they were right. Once again, Jedi Rich has broken a Las Vegas Stadium construction story the mainstream media in Las Vegas missed, okay? Now, I want to say something about Jedi Rich and Jedi Joy. When they choose to focus on a problem, they do very well. The trouble is that, for example, on their most recent video, it's so wacky, you don't want to pay attention to it to really get at what they're saying. So they really do themselves a disservice. If it's not that, they have another video, an interview between Don Webb and the media, that's very valuable. Yet they didn't tag it properly, they didn't give it the right title, and they put it in the unlisted status on YouTube rather than public, so you can't really easily find it. So their own, what seems to be paranoia, really gets in their way. And why they do this, I don't know. But that's them, not me. I'm simply pointing out that when they do choose to get something right, they're really dead on. Now, this is what they wrote. Then, Raider Stadium, and this is what Richard wrote. While reviewing the footage, we saw the engineers decide to take the truss down. They took the truss down because it was not fitting properly in place. It was either an issue with the truss or the roof fixture. This is a big deal because it takes a lot of manpower, person power I prefer, and days to fasten these trusses. Then it takes hours to a full day to lift it and secure it to go in place. I'm going to shorten what they wrote because it's a bit of a long wind. It says, in these photos, the engineers are discussing the problem Wednesday morning. They lifted it on Wednesday. Then today, it was back on the ground. This is not a good thing, okay? As of Friday morning, the truss was still on the ground. The bolts were not fitting right, they claimed. It was a big deal because they got it almost set and then had to bring it back down, and that caused a lot of people and wasted time for the crew. I know that Jedi Witch and Jedi Joy have been talking to workers. They expect, this is them writing this, they expect to lift the truss this weekend, hopefully Saturday, as long as they do not experience any more hiccups along the way. The crew is all about safety. They must have not deemed the truss safe, so they brought it down. So this is me writing this now. A new Las Vegas Stadium construction delay problem now. Now the roof truss problem brings a certain construction delay that's lasted about 4 days already and counting. At the last Las Vegas Stadium Authority meeting, the projected end date of construction that was mid-September of 2020 and identified by this vlogger was then crazily adjusted forward to August 16th, 2020. And then after that, they moved it to July 31st for substantial completion again, right? As I've said before, they should focus on building the Oakland Raiders' new NFL stadium home in Las Vegas right, and stop stressing about creating fake news deadlines. It's very obvious that this is a complicated construction job that needs more time than the Raiders believed or initially understood. So my point now is that I'm speculating that in particular, this reference to bolts and placement in the rings, I'll bet that is actually what caused the compression ring problem with what was identified as bad bolts and welds on the 30th of October, okay? But not connected to the truss issue. So you can't, in my mind, you can't have these trusses that have been installed incorrectly. It was more than one. There were several of them. They had to go back and redo them. That was the first delay. It is my assertion that during that process of initially trying to install the trusses, mistakes were made. They were overstressed. If you put something in the wrong way on anything, if you're trying to force it in there, it's quite possible something else may have been damaged, overstressed. And then the removal process, that problem may very well have been exacerbated. What I'm getting at is that this problem is more complicated than even we are led to believe, or I think even some of the stadium people are willing to acknowledge. Because if they have to turn around and say, hey, look, you know what, this mistake goes all the way back to the roof truss problem, that is a major issue. It means that the whole roof is screwed up, all right? It means the whole roof is screwed up. Richard Hike says it reminds him of the way how he tried to build IKEA furniture without instructions, or the wrong ones. But I want to bring that to everybody's attention, and I want to go back and look at this information again. Because I do think there's a problem. Riot Abbott says FAU pedestrian bridge collapsed and killed 6. The design was approved by the city engineer, but the DA said no prosecution will happen with the company engineers, the city that approved it. So my point is that we have to reinvestigate this and tie all of these actions together as when every process related to roof construction should be re-reviewed. And Richard Hike, that's a good question. What is the FAU report? But every process should be re-reviewed, going all the way back to when the assemblies that were going to hold the trusses were themselves created, and then the installation of the trusses, and then a description of what mistakes were made. I'm going to go back through the reports that are online and see what I can find, because somewhere along there, the real genesis of this problem existed. And so the question is, if they didn't go all the way back that far to address the problem and only started with the 30th, what did they miss along the way that they may pick up later in the process? It's worth asking, okay? Worth asking. It's almost 2 o'clock in the East. Good night, everybody. It's a short stream, but I'll be back earlier tomorrow. See ya.